Check, check, check.
Check, check.
1, 2.
Check.
1, 2. This is the show.
We're idiots.
All right. Imagine the intro right now, boys.
Do you want time cues?
Yes.
All right, I'll give you starting like 10 minutes to go.
Sure, that's perfect. Where's the timer on this? Is that how it works?
Go to the different stadiums and stuff. It's 50 minutes.
50. Oh, damn. We're screwing up, boys. All right.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. Good day, everyone here at Motorama. This is your host, James Jordan.
Mike Wallace.
And the American, Damon Sawyer.
Coming at you for yet another edition of the Wide World of Motorsports podcast. Live here at Motorama. Live.
We don't do live.
Here at the
We swear too
International
much.
Center in Mississauga, just outside of Toronto. And we're going to make a special announcement here that, this is our return to being live. And also our first time on stage. Wow.
I know. Thank you. Yes, you guys have come far and wide
Thank
to
you.
see us. We appreciate it. Look at all the fan
Yeah.
support. Love it. Thank you.
Thanks to
Thank
Motorama. Thanks to everyone that's coming out today in this torrential downpour here in the 6. Everyone here at the International Center staying nice and dry and
For now.
seeing some cool cars.
It's an old building.
Yeah, this is the official kickoff to the motorsports season.
Unofficial,
in Canada.
official.
I'm going to say official now. I'm going to say that. What are you guys looking forward to most this weekend? I mean, we got lots of awesome booths, lots of awesome vendors. We got the Trailer Park Boys car. I was going to say a swear word there, but we're not going to do it. Ricky's car, I hear, is here somewhere. What are you guys looking forward to the most?
I'll go first. I'm really looking forward to the interviews we have coming up. We have Junior Farley coming up. We have Ryan Dyson coming up. We have Sam Fellows, and we'll have some more tomorrow with bigger announcements. So I'm really excited for that stuff.
Yeah, on our show, we got lots of cool stuff on the way today and tomorrow at 12. There are some monster trucks that I'm looking forward to see. There are some dragsters I want to go see, some tuners, and also the vintage room. There's also some cool events going on. The Night of Champions is today, and also the NASCAR Canada booth. NASCAN, ladies and gentlemen that are out there, we're trying to figure out what are we going to call NASCAR Canada. We want to do NASCAN, Can Car. We don't know. Hashtag us. Hashtag the WWOMS. We're going to figure this out. I'm saying NASCAN, but maybe we'll go talk to them and figure that out.
Yeah, we got to figure out what the official denomination is. But, I think NASCAN's a good, little short term for it.
Yeah, NASCAN. Let's do that. We're going for NASCAN, I think. Also, the pinup pageant. There's a pinup pageant. Can car, yeah.
Can car.
There's also some cool collectibles you can get. Farm Truck and Asian is here. Hopefully we get to see them.
That seems racist.
And also Constant Nunez is also here. We're hoping to be able to check out some of their stuff a little later. We're going to bring you all the updates from Motorama here at the WWOMS on social media, as well as we're on the FM on local FM, CFMH 107.3 in St. John, New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
All the
Wow.
way out east.
Wow. They must be really bored to listen to us.
We are there on Saturdays at noon, so you can check us out there, as well as on the Performance Motorsports Network app on your smart devices. So check us out. Give us a follow.
And wherever you listen to streaming apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the like.
We have gotten the bases covered for our streaming stuff, as well as, hey, if you want to join us, if you want to sponsor us, get in a partnership with us, make sure you check us out, wideworldofmotorsports@gmail.com, or our website, the wideworldofmotorsportspodcast.wordpress.com. All right, boys, let's get into it. This is episode 9 of season 7.
Wow.
We're getting into the motorsports season here. And as I said earlier, this is our first time on stage at Motorama, but this is our second year here covering it. Last year we had a great time.
Yes, it was great. It was awesome last
And
year.
then now we get a chance to introduce ourselves a little bit. I'm James Jordan. I'm a radio host in the region of Kitchener-Waterloo. I've been on air since the late 2000s, 2008. We're going on a couple of different decades now. I'm involved with the community in the region of Waterloo, trying to bring a voice to the voiceless and also be able to make connections with a lot of the business people and alike in the region of Waterloo. I'm also really happy to announce the success, I guess, of our podcast. The last few years, we've been able to go on.
Fake success.
We've been able to
We
cover
pretend.
a lot.
We fake it till we make it.
We've been able to cover a lots of different stuff. We started off as just a radio show. We did stuff live on air, and then during the pandemic, we moved to podcasting. So now we're here. We got Wallace on board at about 2020. Wallace, introduce yourself.
My name's Mike Wallace, and I'm a Virgo. I like long walks, and this is not the forum for that. I'm sorry. And I'm happily married. No, I saw Jordan was looking for help, and I reached out. I've just been a massive motorsports fan my whole life. Grew up going to Barrie Speedway, worked there for a little bit. My dad worked there for a little bit, and I eat, sleep, breathe racing. In my house, it's racing, the kids and my wife,
iRacing
probably.
and racing.
iRacing, yeah, kid's wife. And they're tied. But that's, yeah, I'm pretty simple. I say what I think, and I look how I feel. Miserable.
And Wally, he does real good at doing some stuff on our Instagram at the WWOMS. Awesome reels. You guys got to check that out. He's a really good videographer and writer on our team. And then Damon, we got Damon here recently on board. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Damon Sawyer, otherwise known as the American on the podcast intro. I came on board the WOMS in August 2023. Previously, I was doing photography and still doing photography for TobyChristie.com from the U.S. And before that, I worked for Rubbings Racing, which was another Facebook-censored news site for motorsports in general. I've been a motorsports fan my whole life. NASCAR and football is all we talked about in the household, but we never really got to go to races or anything like that. So once I moved out on my own, I started going to races and wanted to be involved, and I found photography was the way to go. So when I go to these races, I do a lot of stuff with the photography, but I do work with the drivers and the owners and sponsors to try to get them coverage, and it was a natural fit to come on board a radio podcast to talk about passion, because a lot of people in my area, they like the local racing in the U.S., but Canada for me is so close. I live 40 minutes from the border. So a lot of Canadian Southern Ontario tracks are closer to me than tracks in the U.S. So it's been great to come on board and speak with all the Canadian fans and all the Canadian drivers and owners and really integrate myself into this culture of Canadian motorsports. So I've really enjoyed it.
And you speak of local and grassroots racing. That's something that here at the WOMS that is deep in our hearts. That's something that we've been able to focus on the last couple of seasons, Wallace.
Yeah, it has been. We've been very lucky to be involved at a lot of tracks with a lot of series and with the promoters and teams. And we have one of those drivers right now.
Yeah, we can get him up on stage. Let's get him up.
We have the driver of the number 72 Burn
Everyone put your hands
Workwear
together.
PV Mart Epic Racewear driver Junior Farley. How are you today, Junior?
Very good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for coming on, man.
We like having drivers on, and I know you're a big race fan at heart. Let's talk a little bit about, we're going to get right into it. Let's talk a little bit about that late model and the wrap on that. That thing is looking sharp, and where are you running that this year?
We're going to do a full-time series again with the APC, so that'll be our second year with the car running for Shaw Motorsports. The wrap itself, Dean Outhouse just put it together from RPM wraps, so they did an amazing job. Different kind of finish, different look with the matte, but I'm very happy with how it turned out, and glad I trusted their instincts on it, because it was kind of a tough change for us, but it turned out really nice.
Yes, it's a very hot fire, as the young kids would say. Livery, that's my road racing coming out in me. You've run, how long have you been running late models for?
I've been running late models since longer than I want to tell you, really. 1996, we started at Flamborough Speedway. We were Rookie of the Year, so been doing it for quite a while.
Did you jump right into late models, or you run anything before that?
We ran go-karts for about 5 or 6 years. So started at Waterloo Regional Go-Kart Club at Herbsville, and then transitioned over to Bingman Park, and then ran throughout Ontario, and then went to full-body cars at 16.
Were those? Did you like the road racing, Mark? Were the road karts? Did you like road racing then?
Yeah, I loved road racing. That's all we did growing up. Just with the financial side of things, short track racing was kind of the route that we could afford. So that's kind of what we've chosen, what we stuck with.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. So also sitting next to your late model, or just behind your late model, is something that's kind of special. Probably one of the most unique race cars sitting in here. Super modified, is that what it is? Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I know there's some like story to it, like you've always wanted to do it. Can we hear about that?
Yeah, for sure. So they run those cars out of Oswego, New York, which is near Syracuse, about a 4.5-hour trip. My family and myself used to go there ever since I was 6 years old. So that's kind of where we vacationed. We just would go down there for decades. And then once I started racing go-karts, even when we were go-karting, we still went down there all the time. But once we started racing late models and stuff, that kind of took over. So kind of forgot about it, but I always loved it. It was always something I'd wanted to do. And just in the last few years, realized, we're getting on the other side of the curve, so I just said I got to do it. So we sold our Can-Am midget that we'd purchased, and kind of liquidated everything I could sell in the shop, and we were able to put the deal together. So I'm very, very excited and very just can't wait till the season starts.
Can you describe a little bit to people? I know they can see it when they go over, but can you describe, what it is, why it looks the way it looks, maybe a little bit of the super modified history?
For the history, you got one of the pioneers right behind us here at Yesterday Speedway. So that's the first car that they ever had. Jimmy Howard's back there, one of the originals. So it's nice that they have that here, and we brought our car, which is kind of the new generation, new style car that they're running out of Oswego. So they've always been radical. They never used to have any rules. It was kind of run what you brung, and they've kind of reined them in a little bit, but there's still a wild offset to them. Big block motors, fuel injected. So they're like an Indy car, basically, just somewhat more affordable and manageable.
Actually, it's funny you say that because Damon made the comment that it looks like an old school Indy car when they would offset the chassis for there. What do they only run out of Oswego?
Oswego's the home of the super modifieds. There's also ISMA, so the International Super Modified Association. They travel around. They used to actually come up to Delaware, Cayuga, Jacasa now. I think they ran once at Sunset. So those were the most recent trips across the border, but they run anywhere from Connecticut and Maine all the way through Ohio, even Indianapolis or Indiana, everywhere. So kind of all over the map.
Okay, so are you planning on running like a highly competitive schedule with that super modified, or are you just going down there to have some fun?
Right this year, we're just going to do 6 races out of Oswego with the tail wing package, and the ISMA, they run the same body configuration with a top wing. So being such a steep learning curve, I just want to stick with the one wing and get comfortable with that package, and then maybe even at season's end, we might try venturing out to Evans Mills or somewhere in New York and trying an ISMA show. So that's kind of what's on our radar, but that's also dependent on results and financial situation at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Evans Mills is like 20 minutes from me, so yeah, let me know when you come up there.
That's I like this. I like this. So I want to talk about your sponsors because you've made a great partnership with Byrne Workwear and PV Mart. We've seen that on your cars a lot, as well as Epic Racewear for all your racing needs, drivers and teams. Can you talk a little bit about the sponsors and what kind of support they give you and what they do to help you through a season?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here, wouldn't be racing without the support of Byrne Workwear, PV Mart. That deal came together last year just before Motorama. Motorama has been a great avenue for any of the racers that are serious about sponsorship to bring your cars, bring your partners here. Byrne's been here the last 2 years, getting people excited about the brand, showing their workwear, just letting them know what's available. And then PV Mart, that's their main distributor. They're also branching out to many other workwear or companies and distributing throughout Ontario as well, but PV's the main one. So we work exclusively with them. And we also have Dan and Bob Bailey from Epic Racewear. They do a lot for the whole racing community across Ontario. They're good supporters. And we have a special announcement later today from somebody else that's coming on board. It's actually on our Super, so hopefully they'll be coming and we'll be announcing that today.
Ooh, I think we'll have to go over there and maybe take a little video as well and post it up. What are your expectations for this year in the APC series? It's a highly competitive series. We've Kyle Steckley, last year's champion. He's down running ASA. Same with Trayton Lapsevich. So it's a highly competitive series. What are your hopes and goals, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, a lot of those guys are fortunate. They're moving on, but Kyle and Joe are both coming back, I believe, full time in the series. So that's good to see. Last year was our first full time year running with the Shaw chassis, and I got so much respect for Dale, Jason, the whole Shaw family. I've been racing against Jason ever since I was a kid growing up. We started clicking about 4 races in last year, and each week we kept getting better and better and improving. Dale won in my car at Sunset, so that's a testament to how good of setup they are and how good of a driver Dale is, how the good a program they got at Sunset. So, there's a series. We were leading at Sauble, cut a tire, and blew up at Sauble once, and then even at Delaware, which is not a good track for us, we were running 6 with under 50 to go, and we got a loose left rear tire that somehow rattled loose. So if we can put that stuff together and build on the momentum that we had, I think we should come out strong. And I'm aiming for a top 5. In points would be awesome, and then hopefully get our first win. That would be a successful season.
Yeah, that's great. Those are great goals. We definitely. I can't wait to watch it. We're trying to follow the APC series a little closer this year. You guys always put on a great show. That race was a pretty intense show. What do you think of the higher lap numbers we're getting into? Right, we're getting 150, we're getting 200, the Great Canadian 200. What's it like to race in doing so many laps when we're used to seeing 100 laps with the APC series?
Yeah, it's definitely different. It adds an element of strategy to it. That was one thing that I think we were on the right plan last year with how we did our strategy and our tire changes and stuff. Adding another 100 for Delaware, there'll be even more strategy, right? So depending on how many tires they give us, how many stops. So for me, I thought, man, it's a lot of laps, so you're going to be physically good at the end of the race, but I didn't really notice the difference on 200, so we'll see what 300's like. And then hopefully, fans enjoy it. That's ultimately, if we're putting on a good show, but we got to do a few of these to try it out and see what the response is. But I think it's kind of the next step in the series evolving, so I like it.
Awesome. Okay, so just before we wrap up here, we got some other guests. I'd love to. Who do you want to thank?
Well, starting by you guys for putting this on and having me on here. I appreciate the opportunity and
Anytime,
come on
man.
and talk
Anytime.
about what our plans are, and Motorama for putting this on. It's just a great event, and I can't thank them enough for all they do. If you're serious about racing, you need to be here. So then we've already mentioned all our other sponsors. So just thanks everybody and the fans for coming out.
Well, Junior, thank you very much, and we can't wait to watch you. Good luck this year.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
So I don't want to railroad this, so somebody can introduce our next compadre. He's right there in front of us.
Yeah, we have a challenger that's going to be in the APC series this year, trying to knock Mr. Farley off of that top 5 thing.
Quick, super sorry.
Quick, super. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, see, I'm new to this whole thing, this whole Canadian racing series. So, Ryan Dyson, everyone.
Hey, Ryan.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being here, taking time out of your busy schedule to build race cars. You guys got any questions, or you want me to just dive in with it?
Yeah, I got questions because obviously I thought that was an APC car. So
that's how beautiful it is.
Yeah,
Go check it out.
Yeah,
White Motorsports, beautiful.
Can you
car.
tell the difference, like what kind of the difference are between that super stock, super late? What was it? I'm sorry.
Super stock.
Super stock. Okay, and the APCs are the late models.
Yeah,
right?
they're pro late.
Pro late models. Yeah.
Honestly, they're pretty much an entirely different race car. So our cars are perimeter chassis, so the whole width of the car is chassis, whereas late models nowadays are a straight rail, so they're offset chassis, so the whole left side frame rail and the right side frame rail is straight down the car. So that's the biggest difference. Engine is a big difference. We run 602 crate motors in our cars. They got about 370 horsepower, I believe. Late models have 604 crate motors. I believe they're about 420 horsepower, so it's not a huge difference. We run 2-barrel carburetors. They run 4-barrel carburetors. We're on an 8-inch tire. They're on a 10-inch tire. So there are a lot of differences. A lot of the parts that we bolt on the cars are pretty much the exact same. Like some of the bolt-on things like center links and stuff or idler arms and stuff. We do run the exact same thing for the most part, but those are some of the biggest differences.
So we got to see you and the team, along with White Motorsports, build your car this year on YouTube. Excuse me. You check them out. It's pretty good. What were some of the biggest hurdles that you found? You talked about the car being it's brand new, ground up, brand new. What were some of the challenges that you guys found with building it, or some of the things you learned in building this car that might help you this season?
Thankfully, though, I don't think there was actually too many challenges. The people at White Motorsports, they know exactly what they're doing. They built a phenomenal race car. It's one of the main reasons we made a partnership with them.
Mark Dilley, everyone. Mark Dilley. Canadian Hall of Fame, Mark Dilley. Bueller.
That's one of the reasons we went with White Motorsports is they're top notch. They know exactly what they're doing. So as far as challenges, I don't really think there was too many. On my end, it was a lot of learning. I've never built a car from scratch. I mean, they obviously built the chassis, and there was some stuff like I assembled the body, they mounted the body. We were able to drop the motor and all that stuff in and do kind of some of those things. So it was a big learning curve to see when you build a chassis from the ground up. It's incredible to see how they can actually know where things are going to go in 2 months down the line. Like these mounts are for this. It's kind of cool to see. It was pretty cool to be able to do it on our YouTube channel and kind of show fans a little bit of the behind the scenes. There was obviously some stuff we didn't want to show, some of the creative stuff and some of the the ingenuity, but it was
Ingenuity, not cheating.
no, car's legal.
100%.
It was awesome to see. It was awesome to be able to show some of those things. So. I've had lots of great feedback on the YouTube channel and some of the things we do and actually able to show fans what goes on behind the scenes, because a lot of people just think, the cars magically show up to the racetrack and when they get all smashed up or whatever, they magically show up the next week. But
right.
We've received lots of compliments and lots of feedback and stuff on showing what it takes to actually get those cars to the track and in this case, actually build them.
Yes, and so this car is beautiful. It actually, I mean, the fact that you thought it looked like a late model, I agree. It kind of does. It's got that stance. It's nice and low to the front. You went with a different livery or paint scheme for the layman. What were some of the why the gold? You've never run gold before, right? You were blue, black, and white last year.
Yeah, and we always had neon yellow accents. Just kind of
That's right.
That's what our team always did. So we, at the end of last year, made a new partnership with Bingo Country. They're a big company in London and surrounding area, lots of different locations and stuff. So made a new partnership with them, and their primary color is gold. So when that partnership came about, we combined the two colors, and Douglas, our other primary sponsor, is blue. So it kind of worked out that the two colors went so well together. I know that sometimes it can be a challenge. You see some cars in like the Cup Series and stuff, and they just look like two cars merged together and there's no real line in between them. So it was nice that we had two colors that we were able to mesh together, and I guess that's our colors now, and the neon yellow days are over.
That's okay. I mean, progress is good. I think it looks sharp. I love the blue and gold. I think the gold reminds me a bit of Smokey Eunuch. I don't know if that was intentional too, but you said it was for the sponsorship. So let's talk about your season. You're running full-time Delaware. You're running for the Superstock Championship. Who's the sponsor of that series this year?
Quick Series. Quick Superstock Series, yeah.
Okay. And then you're hoping to run full-time in the the Touring Series with the APCs. Can we talk about your goals and hopes for the Delaware Championship, and then we'll go into the Quick?
Yeah, for Delaware Speedway, our goal is to go win a championship. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, this is our third full-time season in the car. The goal is to go win a championship, and to multiple wins, I think, is the goal. I mean, last year we went winless, which I'm really pissed off about. So we got a chip on our shoulder, and we got a brand new race car. So if we don't go win races and contend for a championship, and the goal is to win a championship. I know, obviously, you guys set realistic goals, and we always set realistic goals previously. Last year and the previous year, our goal was to be able to win a race or be in contention. This year, to go win a championship is the goal.
That's a great goal. I like that goal. I mean, if you're not shooting for the top step, what are you shooting for? You grew up at Delaware. That's your home track. You've done most of your racing there. What did you start racing there?
I think it was 7 years ago we built a bone stock. We ran kind of part-time all around Ontario because we were still doing work for the United Racing Series and stuff then, so we kind of off weeks would just go do that. And then the following year we built a truck and raced in the truck series for a year. Did pretty well on that, knocked off a couple of wins and a heat win and stuff, so we did pretty well on that. And then the COVID year happened, and we didn't get to race the truck. And got a good opportunity with a super stock, and so we moved up into the super stocks pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. But we've kind of found a nice little home there for the time being and until the next chapter.
What is one of your favorite tracks to go to that's not your home track?
I love Flamborough Speedway. It's I don't know why it doesn't make sense because Delaware Speedway is the absolute complete polar opposite. Two different ends, and it's a half mile, and Flamborough Speedway is pretty symmetrical, and it's a third mile, so it doesn't really make sense that it's one of my favorite tracks. But for some reason, we always seem to do well there.
Right.
The last couple of years, we've started on the front row and kind of got shimmied to the back a little bit, and then made our way back to the front. And last year, we finished top 5 there. I think we had a car capable of winning. It was just the race went green and just kind of circumstances. So this year, I really look forward to getting back to Flamborough Speedway, and I think that we can hopefully get a W there. Would be good.
That's unfortunately a track I've never been to. I hate to say it's a little bit of a drive for where I actually live. Let's talk a bit about the YouTube channel because this is a big deal. This is how I found out about Ryan. I mean, I saw you on Friday nights watching on Rogers TV, but the YouTube was really where I got to know you and know you one-sided, which is kind of creepy when you think about it. Kind of stalker-esque. But because I searched you out when I saw you at CTMP, I believe. But where did this come from, and like what made you want to do the YouTube portion of your racing team?
So everybody who watches YouTube and stuff knows the guys from Hunt the Front. Then it was an idea we bounced around even before we even discovered that, because I mean with what I do for my line of work and stuff, it just kind of made sense. So it was an idea we kind of bounced around a little bit. And then you start seeing people like Landon Huffman and Air Doug and stuff, and they kind of do it. People are finding success with it. So we did it, and we kind of, looking back now, it wasn't very good at the start, as most things are. And then we kind of just went with it. Our sponsors loved it. We started getting, people like yourself saying like, "Oh, I saw you on YouTube," and I'm like, "I have no idea who you are, but this is cool."
yeah.
So
creepy.
when
creepy.
people come up and say like, "Oh, I watch you on YouTube," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, it's good to meet you."
Yeah.
It creates our fan base a little bit. It really helps with the sponsorship and the partnerships and stuff. And racing obviously takes money, and it's it's been really good. And it's really good for us to kind of, like I said earlier, open the horizons of people. Like the cars don't magically just show up, right?
Right.
So it's been really enjoyable. It's fun to do. We have fun with it. It's obviously a lot of work to work on the car all night, and then the next day kind of edit a video and get it up. And it is a lot of work. But the payoff, I think, is well worth it, and it's something that we're investing more into. We've got some new equipment this year.
Nice.
We got some new partnerships and stuff. Our scheme reveal video that we put up the other day was done by an incredible company, Aeronautics, and
Nice.
So it's more people wanting to get involved with it, and it's growing, and we're well over 1,000 subscribers now, and that's a number that I would love to get over into the tens of thousands. I don't think that's unrealistic. I don't know how the Rust Bros got their channel, but maybe we can find ourselves on Discovery Channel or something one day.
That would be good. I mean, you are on Rogers TV, right? You do.
So Rogers
documentary
TV
show.
actually approached us and picked up the YouTube series. So they actually compile all of our YouTube vlogs and videos and stuff into 30-minute episodes.
That's so cool.
So Fridays
That's
before
great.
the OHL games, they actually air a 30-minute segment. So it's kind of cool when you walk into like the Budweiser Gardens in London to watch a London Knights game. You'll see my face plastered all over the TVs and in all the boxes and stuff. And it's kind of surreal a little bit, but maybe one day we can get even bigger and better than that.
Hey, Mom, I made it. All
pretty
right,
much.
let's talk about the other reason why we like to get you guys up here is we want you to. Who do you want to thank? Who's been supporting you all the way, and who is your biggest champion?
Yeah, so Douglas Windows and Doors, they've been with us for 4 or 5 years now, and they're one of our primary partners, and it's been awesome to have them on board. And Bingo Country this year stepped up in another big way as a primary sponsor for us as well. So those two are kind of our key sponsors, and then AP Parts Centers has been with us since day one. We just renewed with them for another year, so that's awesome to have APC Auto Parts Centers. Dockstader Property Maintenance has been with us for a number of years. Blackfly Beverage Company. There's Wix Filters has been with us for a number of years. Castrol, very, very thankful to have the Castrol and Castrol Edge brand, and we obviously fill that car with Castrol Edge. And last year was our first year with Castrol, and first year we didn't blow a motor. So coincidence? I think not. We got lots of awesome partners: Permatex, Aeronoptics, Jay's Detail Shop. The list goes on of all the people that support us, and obviously amazing podcasters and people like yourselves. And we're very thankful to have lots of support. And there's always room for more.
Yes, there's always room for more. Here you go, Tim.
All right, so I got a question for you here, Ryan. So last year it was announced that you were going to attempt to run the Penny Series season finale, and then that didn't come to fruition. Any plans this year to take part in any of the NASCAR races over the course of the year?
So that deal, it did come to fruition. Not in the sense of we raced, but it was there. It was done. I even have a whole bunch of crew shirts at home with NASCAR logos and stuff. Like it was a done deal. I was NASCAR licensed. We were ready to go. It was just a kind of the way our season went last year, and the ups and downs, and the fact that we wanted to build a new super stock. It was just kind of in terms of what was the best investment for our race team, we kind of decided last minute to opt to not do it. It was not a lack of funding. It was not a lack of, we had partnered with DJ Kennington to run a DJK car. It was nothing on DJ's side. It was just last minute. We just decided it was in the best interest of our race team and the longevity of our race team to build a brand new race car that we would have for years to come, and to be able to compete on a weekly basis and run for championships. So that's ultimately what ended that deal. I'm working to hopefully be able to run one or two this summer. It obviously, with building a new race car, we would need to bring in additional partners and stuff to make that happen. We're working hard to try and make that happen. I don't think there's another race team. This isn't an arrogant statement. I think it's just fact. I don't think there's another race team in Canada that works as hard as we do and does as good of a job to market their partners as we do. And like the vlog series and like our graphics and all that stuff, what we do for our partners, I don't think there's anybody else that's doing as good of a job as we are. And I don't mean that to sound arrogant. I just think I honestly just believe that.
Well, every driver believes that they've got the best team, that they got the most skills. So, I mean, it's only natural to feel that way. And for sure, so I see a lot of teams down in the States and whatever. YouTube channels are, you said, they're a big hit. And there isn't a lot of teams that take the time to, break down what they're doing and give it, share it to the fans. They might do little behind-the-scenes things on, Facebook and Reels and whatever, but to take whole, 30-minute series on YouTube, because you'll be wearing, your branded gear, and you can talk about them and show that stuff in action. That's extra, that you're giving your sponsors that other teams just aren't doing. And in the market that we're in, you've got to show them something a little different. So I think you're in good position to find those partners.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. We're working hard, and the races we have our eyes on, if we can make it work, because I would love to run the 2 NASCAR Canada Series races out in Nova Scotia. My wife's family's from out there. I went out there for the first time last summer, and I fell in love with it. And to the point that I was actually even looking at houses out there. But that's the ones I have my eyes on. If we can make it work, I would love to run the 2 NASCAR races out in Canada, or Nova Scotia. It also just logistically makes sense, bang for your buck. You get 2 in one weekend versus, 1 and 1. So if we can make it happen, that's where I would like to go.
Yeah, it's been, 5 years since they've ran there. So I can't wait to see those races. Riverside was an amazing track.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility. We stopped in there on our way out there last summer, and I was just kind of reminiscing, I will race here one day. Yeah. So we're working hard to make it happen, and if it's at all possible, we'll do it.
Now, what are those, they have that big race that they do there every year. They bring in, one NASCAR driver. What are those cars that they run? Are those...
I think those are just Pro Lates.
Oh, okay.
So are you planning on making the step up to a pro late model at any point in the future?
I would love to. I think when you go pro late model racing or beyond, you never know when you may win another race again. I mean, you never know that to begin with. But I think when you go that next step, it's just the competition just gets that much higher. There's NASCAR teams running pro late models, and there's full blown house cars, and I think it just when you get to that next level, you have to have all your ducks in a row to do it properly. And I have zero interest in running if we can't do something properly and to the fullest. I don't want to be a field filler. I mean, racing doesn't work without them, bless their hearts. But I don't want to be that role. If we can't show up and I don't feel like we can win a race, I don't want to show up. So will we get there? Yes. I'm very confident we will get there. We'll get to a late model one day. I believe that one day we'll get to the NASCAR Canada Series full time is the goal. But
you heard it here first.
in order to do it, it's got to be done properly.
Right. What? I guess. Do you have any questions, Jordan? I'm doing all the talking over here next to him. All right, I'll just take up more time. What's your favorite part about why? What got you into racing? Where was the beginning of racing for a young Ryan Dyson?
So I always would just go out to Delaware Speed with my family and watch, and that was enough for a while. And then when the United Racing Series started, I got in touch with Luke, and we kind of got contracted out to do a lot of the media and stuff. So I was involved that way, working for Delaware Speedway and the United Racing Series and stuff. And then, I was a big iRacer. And
ooh, iRacing.
Yeah. And eventually it wasn't enough. I thought that I could do it in real life, and I thought that I could be good at it. So that's when we started our bone stock endeavor, and we moved up and moved through the ranks pretty quick. And I mean, we won our first truck race. I think it was in our 6th or 7th start ever in a V8 stock car. So it just kind of naturally went through. I mean, we were always in it, and it just was never enough. And I finally, once I got in the seat, I'm like, all right, we got to stay here.
I feel like iRacing is a bit of a gateway drug. Because I sit there and pretend race, and I'm like, Lewis who?
Yeah.
Right? I can do this. So actually, we didn't talk a little. We're hoping for your the series, the touring series that travels with the APC series. What are your goals in that series? Because it's a little bit different. It's a traveling series, like I said. You're going to different tracks. You're changing setup here and there. What are realistic goals for you and the team in that series?
I think my main goal in that series, I mean, the last couple of years we've been really good on tour. I think we finished 5th in points the last couple of years. Like we've been really good on tour. We've been really solid. Every time we go to Delaware Speedway on tour, we bring a rocket ship. Jukasa a few years ago we finished 2nd on tour. Flamborough last year we finished 5th. I think last year we missed the pole in the first 3 races by a combined 1/10 of a second across 3 races, which is frustrating, but it's also good.
Frustrating, yeah.
So I think this year on tour, my goal is I'd like to get a pole. I'd like to win a tour race somewhere other than Delaware Speedway, and I'd like to be in contention for the championship at the end of the year. I'd love to say we, go win the championship's the goal.
Yeah.
But my goal, championship at Delaware Speedway. So on tour, I feel it's to be in that conversation and to have a pole and a win. I think are realistic goals for us.
Right.
And to be in contention for the championship doesn't mean my goal is not to win it.
No,
but I'd like to
course
be in
not.
that conversation.
Of course, that makes sense. I want to talk a bit more about your race car. I know we can't talk too much about it. I don't want to say anything I'm not supposed to say, but you told me that this car is a little unique or different, new technology. Is there anything that you can tell us about this car that may be different from other cars or the previous ones?
I'll tell you if it works.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean,
no, it's. I mean,
I get
obviously
it.
with brand new race cars, our previous race car was, I think it was a 2016 chassis, and we had tried to do some updates, but there were some updates that we couldn't necessarily do without cutting the car in half, basically.
Ooh.
So this car is to the new rules, because our other car was to the Delaware Speedway rules before the tracks finally got their ducks in a row and got all the rules in a universal package. So our car had some stuff
that doesn't make any sense. Why make anything universal?
Yeah.
That's not logical. Anyway,
So
sorry.
our car had some stuff that, it's not to say it couldn't have been done, but it was like, okay, like, do we do it or do we buy a new car? So so there's a few things that we just never did. So this car has everything, and the adjustability in this new car, I think, is going to allow us to be really good when we do leave Delaware Speedway, and to be able to actually fine-tune the car is going to be a lot easier for us. So we've kind of prepared for that. We put a lot of kind of fail safes in there to be able to not lose the car like we used to be able to.
Right.
So I'm pretty optimistic that when we do get that thing, it's going to be very good for us.
That's great. I mean, thank you for shedding some light on the car. Well, I'm excited to see this car on track. It's a beauty-looking car. I mean, it's right up there with, Junior's car. Like, it's a sharp-looking livery on that thing. Do you guys have any final questions for Ryan before we wrap up? Okay, Ryan, we're wrapping up. Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate the time you give me at the track, here. I get to chat your ear off, and you're so pleasant, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate everything you guys do, and racing doesn't work without people like yourselves who volunteer their time and put in effort to promote drivers and do all that kind of stuff. So obviously, there's all kinds of media outlets and stuff in the world. So racing doesn't work without people like yourselves and Stickers and Scuffs and all the different podcasters and groups and stuff. So I really appreciate what you guys do, and I appreciate your time. And time to get back over there to the White Motorsports booth and see if we can sell some parts and some race cars and show off our beautiful car.
Yeah, you got to pay that car off.
Got to pay that car off somehow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. Thank you, everyone. Give it up. Wow. Final bow. Hey, that
fantastic.
was. I'm glad we were able to talk to some drivers here.
Yeah, I hope I didn't look too inattentive. We were waiting for our third interview. He doesn't.
We were
seem-
hoping Sam Fellows would come, but I do want to say,
He
maybe
is here.
Sam's around, but I do want to say one thing about Sam, just to give him a little of a Wally's tip of the hat here on the show. If Sam didn't grant us media creds at CTMP 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago, we wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to take photos, to be able to interview drivers, and to be able to get opportunities to be able to go on stage here at awesome events like Motorama. And hopefully we get Sam on by. We'll probably be able to talk to Sam at some point regardless.
I hope to get at least an interview. We'll try to get an interview.
and
with
we'll be able to have lots of interviews throughout the day on our social media at the WWOMS. We're going to talk to as many people as we can here. So a couple of things. Let's get into it here. Once again, thanking everyone for coming out here to Motorama. A lot of people paying a lot of good money coming here, coming from far. And it's packed. We've been talking to a couple of people here, and there's just hundreds of people walking by.
Maybe even thousands.
People, I bet you there are probably thousands of people coming here. So we just got to thank Motorama and all the people here for coming by and making the Boneyard Podcast Corner and stage here, the Golf Racing Zone stage here is possible.
Yeah, this is my first time coming to Motorama, so Syracuse has some motorsports expos and I've been to, and they're pretty good. But like this is next level. I've been to some like convention centers and exhibitions, and this is just incredible to set up. It's such like this huge area here. There's a whole nother room behind us, and then on the other side, there's a whole nother setup.
Yeah,
It's
you literally you
crazy.
could spend your whole day probably going from one end to the other here at Motorama, and so let's just thank also our radio partner. Local FM 107.3 CFMH, where we air Saturdays there, as well as Performance Motorsports Network. And you can also get us wherever you are. If you got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I think Google Podcasts is shutting down, unfortunately. They're moving to YouTube. But we will get on there when that happens. But just for everyone listening to us here as we wrap up the show, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk a bit about NASCAR Canada. There's something that we were talking about the last couple of weeks, getting as we ramp up into the motorsports season here in Canada. What are some of your guys' favorite moments of 2023 in the NASCAR Canada Series? We'll start with Wallace here.
Oh, that you put me on the spot here. I really enjoyed CTMP the first
The spring
weekend.
and fall.
Yeah, the spring and fall were both good.
both epic
I really
finishes.
like the spring. I think I like the spring the most because it was unexpected for me. I was not anticipating being there.
The bump and run from Trey to Mac.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the broadcast if you listen close enough. Sorry, G-Force, but that was just an amazing moment that happened in front of us. I probably scared everybody, which was funny. So yeah, it was a beautiful weekend. It was a beautiful day for that race. That was probably my highlight. I like the season finale too.
Damon.
Yeah, so it's weird to say that it's a favorite moment because it was a very emotional moment, but it was one of those. It was the moment like you wanted to be there to feel it. Was in Victory Lane at the iCar event. So for anyone who didn't get to catch the race, Alex Tagliani was leading. He passed Mac with a few laps to go. I actually got that on camera, that pass, the only pass for the lead. And then with was it last lap or two to go, it was on the other end of the track. I didn't see it. Mac did make contact with Tagliani, spun him out, and so Mac went on to the win. But the scene in Victory Lane after, they spent several minutes talking to each other. And while I do not speak any French, you could just tell, like, just looking in their eyes, just like the emotion and the feeling with each other, like just going through that and discussing it. It was one of those you had to be there moments, and it was probably my most memorable moment of the season. That and just watching the Trayton win at the championship. That whole celebration was amazing. But yeah, I'd say those two were right up there.
For me, Schrader at Big O, getting that win, being one of the first Americans to win in the NASCAR Canada Series, that was pretty epic. And oldest, yeah. That was really good. I love that NASCAR is going to the dirt. I'm a big fan of NASCAN on the dirt. Can't wait for their trip to the Big O this summer. Also, yeah, just going back to CTMP again, LP versus Lacroix in the fall, that was a pretty good, honest to good battle. I don't think anyone was mad at each other afterwards. Everyone went into that race like it was like the best place on earth, and everyone went out the same way. Everyone was happy. Some of the best racing I think we saw in 2024, for a lot of respect between the drivers. And you can't forget that bump and run in the spring when Trey gave the he let Mac know how he felt after that one, and that was the beginning of the dominance from Trey. And I wonder who's going to be able to fill those roles this season. Who you guys think will be able to be the next dominant driver in the NASCAR Canada Series?
Oh, that's a really good question. LP Dumoulin is going to be looking good this year. He's got a new livery. He's got the number back in the appropriate place, in my opinion, right on that door. So I'm hoping that's going to bring him some luck and get some more wins. It's going to be interesting to see how Kevin Lacroix does with, the new team, the Kings Autosport, or I'm not quite sure the name. They're conjoined with his team. It'll be a two-car operation. Mac's coming back, right? Yeah. So he's got to be still favored to top three at least. So it's going to be very interesting to see who is going to be any of the younger drivers that are coming in. Are any of them going to step up? Who knows?
Wally?
Yeah, I have a feeling LP it's gonna be his year. That car, very reminiscent of his championship winner in 2016. The what one? It's on 17. I'm not too sure. It's on our poster.
2018.
But that as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, that's a retro livery. It kind of makes me feel like it might be LP's last year. I hope not, because he's amazing. But yeah, I have a real strong feeling for LP.
Yeah, there's a big. I think there's going to be a big competition between the next generation and the old generation in the NASCAR Canada Series. And I think 2024, we're going to get a little bit of taste of that. We got a lot of the experienced guys that are still around, that we're still basically the backbone of the series, and then we're going to get a lot of new guys coming in. And I hope, as we wrap up this year, as fans and media, we can strive for more focus on trying to be able to support the local series, so that way drivers will be able to have a bit of a ladder in Canada, and they also have the opportunities to go down south and do stuff as well. And that's something that we're going to be focusing on here at Motorama today and tomorrow. We're going to be talking to some people. Check out our social media at the WWOMS. We're going to have all the updates from Motorama to your community. And I can't wait to talk to some people here at Motorama. We're just getting things started here. So we're going to be back on stage tomorrow at noon.
Sorry.
We are pumped for that. Once again, thank you to everyone. Thank you to Motorama, and for everyone coming out far, paying some good money to be here, listening to the wide world of motorsports here, coming at you on the FM on local FM 107.3 CFMH in St. John, New Brunswick, on the Performance Motorsports Network app on your smart device, and wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to email us at wideworldofmotorsports@gmail.com if you want to support or join us. Well, That just about wraps it up for this edition. I am James Jordan.
Mike Wallace.
And the American.
That's just the facts. We'll see y'all around the bend.
Peace.
Adios.